Hello, everyone. I am Joan Turner, and I want to welcome you to another Drake Council on Aging inspired tutorial. And this month, we have something special. Okay, this is actually a little wine glass. You could use a wine glass, or you could use a little vase. If you are at the Drake Council on Aging and picking up art packs, the container is already in here, and it is glass, so be careful, don't drop it. All right, so this is what we're going to do on this. All right, if you've gone rogue and you want to paint on a wine bottle, which is very cool, or a different shaped glass or a vase, that's okay too. We're using acrylic paints to do so. Okay, so this particular handout, if you don't have it in your DCOA pack, you can actually just pull up the flyer from Drake Council on Aging, their monthly flyer, and there's a picture of it on there. Or you can take a print screen of this. Okay, so you want to kind of have one of those around. Even if you don't, so what? You'll have a blast. Okay, so obviously you need this to paint on. The colors that we're going to use in here, all right, are orange, if you have orange. If you don't have orange, then you want yellow and red. Okay, but most of you will have the orange. The yellow and red, when you mix them together, makes orange. We're going to put a little bit of brown in it to get into these shaded areas so that we can see the sections of the pumpkin. And then, of course, green for the leaf work. Okay, and the leaves have a little bit of like yellow in them, maybe just a bit of white. Plus, I always like to have a little bit of white nearby. Okay, in case I want to make things lighter or brighter. Okay, so a little bit of white will go a long way. Brushes, you will not need a very large brush unless you're working like on a big bottle or something that has a lot of mass to it. Okay, other than that, just a medium brush to do this, and then your smallest brush for like the details, such as the stem work and whatnot. Okay, all right. We will also need palettes. And if you have seen these tutorials in the past, you will know that we are using paper plates as palettes, only because they're really easy cleanup, right? So you can use a real palette if you want to. I've been drinking hot cocoa, so I'm like, hot. So anyway, palettes. Okay, you can use palette paper, you can use a real palette, or you can use a dish and then just throw it away afterwards. Okay, you need water. Okay, don't put your water in a drinking cup, because you will be so involved and focused on doing your artwork. If you get thirsty, you just go and pick it up. And I can't tell you how many times I've drank my my paint water until I finally smartened up and said, I'm going to put my paint water in a different container. So your brain doesn't get all like, oh yeah, okay, I know what that is. All right, paper towels. Use paper towels, have them nearby. I have taken to leaving some cotton swabs nearby to clean up little tiny messes, which sometimes happens. It's totally okay. What else do you need? Paint clothes. You will need paint clothes. And if you're working on a surface that you don't want to get paint on, obviously, rugs, tables, cover them with drop cloths, or I just saw something fly by. Halloween's coming, must be getting ready for the season. So cover your floors, cover your tables, wear art clothes or smock. Okay, our acrylic paints, once they dry, they are permanent. Okay, so I mean, these art clothes I have bleached several times and the paint remains. Okay, so just dollar store tablecloths will do the trick. All right, so we are getting ready to go. So if you get your hot chocolate and let's go, babies. It's time to go. Ooh, it is hot. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna turn you around. Yes, you know the art room. Maybe you want to see my okay. This is some of the pictures that are there, and on the other wall, there's some more pictures on the other wall. Okay. So there's lots of pictures here, and doing this tutorial in the fall. Okay, so that's the pumpkins and whatnot, but I also have been working on a skull. Oh, don't you love him? These white flowers on his head are not necessarily white. They are actually glow in the dark paint. Did you know you could get glow in the dark paint? So when we turn off the lights, he lights up. You can see him in the dark. So I'm hoping that I'll scare some of this kids on trick-or-treat day. All right, all right. Without further ado, let us do this. Okay, so let's get set. This one, maybe. Usually I stand. I have to stand. Okay, I'm ready for a nap now. Okay, so here are all my things. As you can see, I have a home studio. So this room is my home studio. And this table has been here for 25 years. It was made especially for me and for our class. Okay. So it has lots of, and believe it or not, I do kind of commit, but well, it doesn't stay clean. So here is that picture. And today I'm not going to use my easel because I have a hard time getting on the easel. But I think what I will do, rather than just have everyone try to paint these right on, let's make some guidelines. I think that might be easier for people. Make some guidelines. So I'm going to make guidelines with my paint. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this white. And this is a very loose white. But if you have like really good white, just water it down a little bit. And take your smallest brush, the one you're going to do detail with. And then pumpkins are basic, basic shapes. When I teach drawing, I teach the basic shapes first. So basic shapes are circles, cylinders, cubes, and triangles. Okay, so everything you see is based on one of those basic shapes. So the basic shape of a pumpkin is, you guessed it, a circle. Okay, so you're going to make a big circle right in the middle here. All right, and I'm going to pick a spot on my glass. I don't know what's the best way to do this. Maybe you can see that. Can you? Can you? All right, let's try this. All right, so I'm going to put one pumpkin right here. Okay, I'm kind of drawing him on there. And if you don't think you're good at drawing pumpkins, don't worry about it. No one's good at drawing pumpkins. Okay, but they're basic shape circles. Okay, or maybe a little oval. You see that? All right. So that's kind of the one in the middle here. Right, so then I'm going to turn this around. So here is this pumpkin here. I'm going to turn this around and put another one over here, because this glass obviously is see-through. So you're going to be able to see the pumpkins, all of them. Okay, and again, just kind of making another basic shape circle. not putting whole bunches of work into this. And then I'm going to turn it around a third time. Okay, and I'm going to put another one right here. So I'm going to make this one kind of a tall one. So each one, I made them make just a slightly different shape. Okay. So I have 3 pumpkins hanging out all together here. I'm going to put this brush into the water. I'm going to have some drink. And then I'm going to put my orange out on my plate, okay, which is right here. And remember that we want to be able to see the different sections of the pumpkin. So I'm going to put a little bit of brown out here to mix in with some of the orange. And of course, I want a little bit of highlight. So I'm going to put some yellow out here. Okay, and this is just a little bit of golden yellow, right? And golden yellow is a combination of the red and the yellow. Okay, so I'm actually going to put some of my red out as well, just because this red is pretty thick, which sometimes happens if your paint has been around for a while. Plus, the types of paint make a difference. I find that my first choice is the Amsterdam or even the golden, but the golden brand is a little bit expensive for students and stuff. So Amsterdam is good, Premier is not bad. Basics are okay, but they do have a tendency to dry out a little bit. Okay, so now I have on my palette, I have orange, brown, red, kind of goldy, yellow, and some really thinned out white. But I want to begin to place some of these pumpkins on here. So I'm going to pick a pumpkin, right? Let me see. The first one I put on here is this almost heart-shaped one. So I'm going to take my medium brush. Okay, so you're not going to need large brushes for this project unless you're really working like on a big wine bottle or a big vase, that sort of thing. So I'm going to take my brush and how close I get here. Take my brush and I'm going to start and then just come all the way to the bottom here. Okay. So I'm actually just kind of filling in my outline a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn this upside down so that I can do the other side. Okay, so there's my pumpkin. Right, and you can absolutely see through that pumpkin. So I'm actually going to maybe give it a second coat. So this one will have to dry a little bit. Before it does, take a little bit of your yellow and put some yellow in there. Lighten this up a little bit. And of course, if you're mixing your own orange, you can mix a really awesome color, any color that you want. You can make a really light, highlighted yellow or orange. Okay, it's my pumpkin. Okay, I want that to dry out just a little bit. I'm going to take this, just clean this off a little. Okay. So I'm going to go to my next pumpkin over here. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start at the top of my pumpkin and then just bring the brush down. Okay. Pull it down. Okay, and you're painting on glass, so you're going to see some see-through, which is absolutely okay and actually kind of pretty. Right, so now I'm going to turn this upside down. Be careful when you do because you have wet pumpkin on the other side. So I'm going to round out these shapes a little bit here. Okay, so now two pumpkins. One's a little bit more yellowy than the other. So I'm going to pick up some of this yellow, and while the orange is still wet on there, I'm going to bring in some yellow highlight. Okay, wonder what that would look like with a little bit of white in there. Let's see. Well, not bad. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. Maybe if I clean my brush. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do the third pumpkin. And this third pumpkin, I made it really kind of tall. I wanted a nice tall pumpkin here. It's kind of a big guy. And I still have a little bit of yellow on my brush, so that's kind of cool. It came out really kind of yellowy orangey. Okay, so I'm gonna stick my hand in this and turn it upside down. And again, my reasoning for this is to not put my hands on the other parts of the glass here. This is fun. We should do more of these. Okay, picking up the yellow and the lighter orange, and once again, painting it through here. Can pick up a little of the white as well. Kind of as we go along, we're developing this as we go along. There we go. Okay, so there's a lot of paint on this pumpkin. Okay, so the reason is it's a lot of paint on my brush. So I'm actually going to take some of it off. When you're working on a canvas, the canvas will spread out some of the paint. This is glass, so the glass obviously is not absorbing any of the paint. So a little bit of a different one. So now I have 3 pumpkins on here. Okay. So the first pumpkin is probably a little bit dry enough for me to pick up some yellow and put a little bit more yellow on here. Okay, because I want this pumpkin really kind of glow at me. I like how pumpkins glow. Okay, so that's a cool pumpkin. Ooh, I'm getting orange fingers. Okay. Right. So I'm going to actually take some of the yellow and put it on some of the other pumpkins. So that's my first pumpkin. Which one was my second pumpkin? And I can actually tell which is which from how dry they are. Okay, so I'm going to take my second pumpkin and get a little yellow on that little man, a little pumpkin. Okay. I'm blowing on him. Okay, I'm going to take some of this yellow and put it on my third pumpkin. So it absolutely has a nice little highlight to it. There we go. Okay. And when these dry, they're going to dry a little on the flatter side, because right now they're nice and shiny because the paint is wet. But when they dry, they're going to dry a little bit on the flat side. Okay. So I'm going to let it hang out for just a few minutes and let this dry. I'm going to you could just blow on it for a few minutes, something like that. Put it in front of the fan, whatever it is that you would like to do. Okay. So give it a few seconds to dry out a little bit. And after this, just sits for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be completely dry. It's just not as wet as it was. All right, we want to take some of our orange, okay, and a small brush. Okay, I'm going to take some of my orange. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to take a little bit of the red, I think, and which one wants to be my front? I think the first pumpkin I did is going to be the front of my little guy here. I'm just going to put some of the red just to give it a little bit of a deeper orange. So in some places, I have a nice deep orange. In other places, I have it nice and bright with a lot of yellow in it. Okay. So can you see that? So maybe turn it upside down a little bit. Okay. All right, so I'm going to now continue with this small brush here. I'm going to take my brown, just a teensy bit of brown here, and just orange first. We're putting some brown in the orange, and the goal here is to just make a darker orange, almost like a sienna color here. Okay, can you see that? Okay, clean this off, do this to bed, mix this a little bit better. And what I have is a very dark orange, or a kind of a burnt umber color. So I want this pumpkin, I want to be able to see the sections in this pumpkin and get closer, sitting in my water dish, which I've been known to do. So now I'm going to drop my pumpkin. I'm going to put the stem right out there. Okay, so I'm giving myself a little bit. So now watch closely. Making these sections. Can you see them? See those brown kind of sections in there? Okay, and then another one here. Another one here. Let's go a little darker. This, and then one way back here, and another one way back here. Okay, so can you see those? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not doing bringing it down the whole pumpkin. I just want to be able to see there are different kinds of pumpkins. These are actually called Cinderella pumpkins, believe it or not, because they're the pumpkins that Cinderella's godmother made her carriage from, right? And then there are some things called spice pumpkins, which are sections are thinner and closer together. Okay, these are called Cinderella pumpkins. Okay. All right. So Cinderella pumpkins, I'm putting, you know, as I say, they kind of sat for a while, so I'm able to kind of blend a little bit on here. If you're not able to blend on yours quite yet, then it means that it's not quite dry enough yet. Okay, so you might want to pause the recording for a little bit and let it dry. Not a lot, just like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. All right, so that I want to go to, where's my small S brush? Okay, here's my small S brush. Because what I want to do is just get this outer edge here. Ta-da! Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this around, do the same thing to my other pumpkins. I'm going to figure out where the stem is going to be. This place is going to be right here, right there. Okay, now I'm going to take the very first section I make is in the middle here. Okay, and if you're not comfortable with doing this, you can practice. You can practice making the sections before you actually paint them on here. And you are the creator. You don't have any sections on if you don't want to. Okay, I absolutely want to. The more work I make for myself, the better I feel. Okay. So I'm going to go with some yellow in here, give some highlight. I'm going to try a little white. Yeah, give it a little more highlight. There we go. Some orange for the middle. See, we should, this is fun. Okay, there we go. So here's this little pumpkin guy. And I'm going to take the excess paint off my brush. Get a little highlight in there, a little highlight, yellows. And again, you know, if the highlights are not going in really, really easy, just, you know, go to a different pumpkin, let this one dry out a little bit. Okay, try and get your hand out without wrecking it. Oh, I almost pulled my brush back. Don't do it, Jeff. Okay. I'm going to my third pumpkin. Now this is kind of a big guy over here. So once again, same routine here. I'm gonna find where I'm gonna put the stem. And I mean, you can put them right at the top. I don't typically do that. I'm gonna draw this here. See what I'm doing? I do this. Now, I'm gonna do another one right here. Okay. And by all means, your pumpkins do not need to look like these pumpkins. Someone said to me, well, my pumpkins don't look like your pumpkins. And that's fine. Okay. Everyone is different. And when you do your own kind of style, like maybe your pumpkins are rounder, maybe they're longer, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's actually nicer if they're your own pumpkins. I'm gonna this guy just a little bit darker. Okay, now he's a real pumpkin. So I still want to give him a little bit of highlight. And let me try mixing white and yellow. Maybe that'll give me the highlight I want. That'll do it. That'll do it, John. Okay. So let's give him a little highlight here. Okay. Getting a little bit of highlight. These guys are starting to dry a little bit over here. There we go. Voila. Voila in French means bear. Voila. I was lucky enough to and a little bit was nice. And so I tried to learn the language just a little bit. When I say just a bit, I mean just a bit. So a lot of times I would like order stuff, something like totally different, and think to myself, oh, yeah, they just weren't listening. Not that I didn't say it right. But the reason I said tell you that story is I don't want to lose what I did learn. So sometimes I'll be watching stuff on Netflix and I listen. You have a choice. Like you can say what language you want to hear it in. So I'll do subtitles in English and listen to it in French. And it amazes me how much I don't know. You catch a word here and there because these folks are speaking it really fast. It's not like when you go to school and they go, bonjour, je m'appelle John. Oh, look, my trash can is French. It opens up. It's voice activated. And they don't talk like that in the movie. They go, blah, 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 like that. And so I like catch a word here and there and realize just how much. Okay. So, you know, here. All right, so we are so ready. So we're going to need some green. Green's the only color that I didn't put out. What is up with that? Okay, so this guy is sitting here and drying off just a tad. I'm going to take a little bit of green, put that on the palette, and clean it off of here. I was speaking to him yesterday, with a little one. And she's like, I cannot get this out of here. And she's like really, really struggling. So, and I struggled myself. When we finally got it open, what had happened, paint dry. Yeah. Sometimes if you eyes and the color. That's how in those cases I tell her this and use it that way. Of course, she doesn't have control that way. So we get this big blob. Okay. So I cocoa first. And now we want to put in some of these stems. Now, the stem work on this, look at this, there's a lot of little like keys, so and so. And absolutely, put those in, have a blast, have a good time. Don't try to emulate this perfectly. There's no reason to. And as long as you like it, everyone's going to know that they're stems. Okay? And actually, you might do a better job. So there we have it. There, right there. I'm going to take my smallest brush and some more paper towels. And clean off my brush because I've been using it. And these stems here are like a brownish greenish color. These right into here. So I'm going to take some of this green, like so, and I'm going to mix brown in it. So what I'm going to end up with is a very earthy green color. Okay, I'm going to put my brush in the water and just loosen this a little bit, so just so it flows a little more evenly. Now, this is the part where everyone kind of flips out a bit, but when you're doing these, just let it flow. Let's see if I can get in to show you. I'm just going to take this very loosely, let it flow. Just let it go. Take some of this yellow here. And a good way to do it is to use one hand to support the other. Just get them in there. Okay, so I dipped in the yellow and went over the green. Okay, so I have my dark green here. This is my dark green here. And the leaves that are on the pumpkins in this picture are not what pumpkin leaves look like. So I'm going to say, make them any way your heart desires. So I'm actually going to change that up a little bit, I think. Okay, so here's my stem mark. If I down here. And then I take this stem, just kind of let it fall down. Okay, so again, I'm going to dip into the yellow a little bit so I can highlight it there. See where my stem is. Okay, I'm getting a cramp in my hand from this glass. Thank you very much. Okay, then I'm going to take one from behind here and just move it right along here. Okay, again, not a wrong way to do this. Okay, see my stems? I'm just making little curly cues. Okay, so a real pumpkin leaf looks like this. Kind of this. It's kind of bumpy, like that. Okay, and if you want to be able to see it better, pick up a little bit of green. I mean yellow. There. Okay, I guess we'll let it dry just a little bit. So while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and make some more stems, right? But I'm going to start doing some more here. And once again, I'm doing brown, which actually has some orange on it, and green. Okay, so my goal here is to have a nice earthy color green. And I'm dropping my stem here rather than at the top. Put the stem here, like this. Right, then again, put my brush into the water just to loosen this up a little bit. And then you take this stem, and you're actually better off if you just do it like in one strand. Okay, and I'm saying if you can, because in some cases you can't do that. Okay, so I'm mixing some of the yellow in here. bring the stem up a little bit. Okay, see that stem, bringing it up just a tad. Put a little bit of brown in there. Okay. Let's bring it way up. So I made a really curly. Okay, picking up some of the yellow now and going over. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this green and put it over here because I have a little too much yellow in there. Okay. Oops. This way. So this little guy, I think, I'm going to go here. I'm going to put another leaf on here, I think. Okay, let's see if I can get you to see the leaf for a little bit. There we go. Let's make it right here. Okay, see we have some leaves. I'm going to pick up a teeny bit of yellow to put in my leaf, just to give them some color. Let's put a little yellow in this one. That is so cool. All right, we have what to do. And again, brown and green so that we get a nice deep green color. Dip again in the water to loosen this slightly. Okay, creating my stem. I'm going to make this stem right here. I'm going to bring this stem up here. Let me get a little brown. Okay, so that's just the stem. Right, so again, we need that paint to be really loose when we're doing these little vine type things. I like it. Bring this one here a little bit. The leaf right here. The leaves I'm just kind of touching and dragging. I'm just dabbing. Okay, so let's do some on the other side here. Let's come all the way over. And really make this kind of permanent here. So some of these are going to be a little bit thicker and darker than the others. It's a-okay. Let's take this guy all the way over. go. Okay, I'm gonna put a leaf here. Again. Watch what I'm doing here. Just touching this. Making the leaf right here and then just picking up a little bit of yellow, giving it a little bit of highlight. And I have a leaf. There he is. Okay, so let's do a couple more here. Okay, a little bit of yellow from the stem one. Okay, and look around, certainly look around and see if you want to add more to the others. Maybe you want to add a little bit more color. Maybe you want a little yellow in here. This guy has more leaves. So let's give him more leaves. Dab those leaves on there. You got a little bit of leaves should have a little bit of bumpy shape to them. You don't quite look leaves on a tree. Okay, let's do this. Slow down. Okay, here. I'm thinking it's actually okay. Just as it is. Wait, well, I'll tell you. Right now, when it's dry, you put if you're using if you use a glass or something that is drinkable, I wouldn't drink out of this. Okay, put paint. I never drink out of anything because paint on it. But what you could do is after this dries, you could spray it with a spray varnish. You could more charge it. And that would actually put this in place. Or you could just right after that, once it's dry, you could leave it just the way it is. Yeah. You could put some Halloween decoration in it. Even though inside you don't want it to have it. So, that's yeah, not still anything. Still a bunch of stuff. So this is relatively quick, easy. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Okay. That not cool. All right. And like I said, it's not something that's really, really tough to do. So it's actually a good project to do with kids. It doesn't have to be glass. If you're with children, you can use plastic. You can paint on plastic Christmas bulbs. There is no limit to what you can do. As far as you can stretch your imagination, that's where your limits are. Okay. I want to say Thank you. Have an awesomely good autumn season. Okay, fall season. I think the first day of fall was a couple of days ago. So it depends on when you're actually seeing this, I guess. But as of September 2021, the center is still not open yet. Okay, it had some damage to it. And so we're making repairs and all that good stuff. So we're looking at probably the beginning of next year, 2022. But in the meantime, the center has worked out an agreement with the Giving Tree, which is also in Drake, and we'll be able to hold some classes there until our place gets back on its feet. So contact Bethany or Debbie or Anne Marie is the new activities director at Drake Council on Aging and get the info. All right, it's probably going to be in the newsletter as well, I would imagine. But if you have questions, I know that transportation is still going to be available for those who need it. All right, so we will start resuming indoor classes. We've been doing them outside at Drake. But we're going to start resuming inside the first, we do classes on Friday mornings. So for us, it'll be October 8th, and we'll be doing art classes inside at the Giving Tree on the bottom floor in their kitchen, because it's the only floor that does not have a carpet on it. And it's a brand new place. So we don't want to get paint all over it. All right, so call them. You can call me too. They probably have more information, but I certainly can lead you in the right direction. Okay, so my number is 978-807-7608 is my cell. Leave me a message what time is good to call you back if I don't pick up the phone, which is probably the case in most cases. You can email me at Joanissa, JOANISA @Comcast.net, or call the center. And once again, thank you to the fine folks at Drake Council on Aging, the Drake Cultural Council. These are made possible through them, and the Friends of Drake Elderly. Okay, so thank you to those good folks that make all of this possible. Okay, you have an awesomely good day, and till I see you next time, be legendary. Okay, bye for now, my friends.